Hi everyone, this is For the Love of Comics, and in this video we're going to be taking a quick look at Will Eisner's The Spirit, a celebration of 75 years. This is DC Comics' hardcover collection of Spirit stories by Will Eisner and a couple of other creators that was published in 2015 to celebrate 75 years of The Spirit, who first appeared in 1940. If you're interested in The Spirit or other comics by Will Eisner, check out our Will Eisner Comics playlist linked above. But otherwise, let's jump into Will Eisner's The Spirit, a celebration of 75 years. The 75th anniversary edition of Will Eisner's The Spirit is a hardcover dust-jacketed volume that comes in at around 480 pages and features a glossy dust jacket with a classic Spirit art piece by Will Eisner as the front cover, and Darwyn Cooke's rendition of that for his Spirit series as the back cover. The flaps of the jacket feature a brief introduction to the Spirit in the front and a short bio of Will Eisner in the back. Flipping the book out of its dust jacket, you can see that the inside cover is also printed and colored this light blue with printing on the spine but a plain back cover. Now, DC Comics' earlier collection of The Spirit, which I recommended in my How to Get Started Reading the Comics of Will Eisner video, is one of two volumes that DC had out in trade paperback, the other being Spirit Femme Fatales, and together they comprised the best way to actually read Spirit stories easily. Otherwise, there are 26 volumes of the Spirit archives that collects every single Spirit strip in chronological order, but that's a little hard to get your hands on and quite a lot to get into. This new 75th anniversary edition, therefore, represents a brand new way to get more Spirit stories. And by more, we mean about 3 times more. The Endpapers are a detail from one of the Spirit strips, and you can see that the production and the design is quite modern without losing its retro feel. This edition does reprint the introduction by Neil Gaiman that was written for the 2005 paperback, and also presents a brief write-up on the Spirit section and how the Spirit was originally published. Inside, the pages are absolutely white, really showing off the colors and the designs that Will Eisner experimented with throughout the run of this strip, and the printing quality is also very high. This white paper is quite a pleasure for me because the trade paperback that DC had brought out earlier has really started to brown. It's not acid-free paper, and it's not the high-quality paper used for deluxe editions or even maybe trade paperbacks today, which presents this as a serious upgrade as far as production is concerned. This new paper and printing quality really puts on display how much thought went into the design of the Spirit comic strip. The most important thing, of course, is the contents. And the earlier Best of the Spirit trade paperback had done a really good job of representing a good range running from 1940 to 1950 and giving us about 22 stories. The 75th anniversary edition, however, gives us 60 stories from roughly that same period of time. This, of course, allows for a much broader sampling than the Best of the Spirit did, and that's understandable. The Best of the Spirit was meant to be a trade paperback size thing, and it did a very good job in showing you what Will Eisner achieved, but it did restrict itself mainly to the post-war period, understandably, because that's considered where the Spirit became most bold and most experimental. The 75th anniversary edition actually gives you 8 or 9 stories from the pre-war period, which gives you a good glimpse into how the strip evolved. There is a list of people who assisted Eisner through the run in the Spirit section intro that starts the book, and this contains a virtual who's who of contemporary comics writers and artists, so it's a little strange not to see them mentioned in the years that you know it wasn't Will Eisner doing it. In any case, since there are 60 stories and only 9 of them are from the pre-war period, you do get way more of the bolder, more experimental post-war comics as well. You also get the Capistrano Jewels, which is a later Spirit story done by Will Eisner for Kitchen Sink Press, and this is the first time I've been able to read this story. Towards the end of the book, there are a couple of stories from the new adventures of the Spirit, which Kitchen Sink brought out in the 90s. And these were Spirit stories done by some of the top writers and artists of the time, and 2 of them are included in here. Again, the authors and artists aren't mentioned, and that's a little funny because in this case it's Neil Gaiman collaborating with Eddie Campbell, and the other is an Alan Moore story. Maybe because DC can't credit Alan Moore with anything they didn't credit anyone. The last story in this collection is Jeff Loeb and Darwyn Cooke's Batman the Spirit crossover. Batman the Spirit was a one-shot that DC Comics used as a pilot for Darwyn Cooke's Spirit series, which was a revamped, relaunched series. It's great to have this story in here, although it is also available in the Darwyn Cooke series collections. The final pages of this edition contain an afterword by Darwyn Cooke in which he talks about his obsession with the Spirit, and it's a heartfelt and wonderful piece. Right at the end, you've got a couple of ads, one for Will Eisner's Spirit Archives, 26 volumes, and one for other Will Eisner books brought out by Dark Horse Books, which is a little unusual to see in a DC comic for me. And just like the front end papers had a detail from a Will Eisner strip, the back end papers have a detail from Darwyn Cooke's. All in all, this is a beautiful job of production and a loving tribute to Will Eisner's The Spirit. So there you have it, a beautiful, normal-sized but thick hardcover collection of a lot of Will Eisner and a little bit of others doing The Spirit. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your questions and comments below, and thank you for watching.